the psychology of people being in denial, and just no matter what you present to them, they constantly have to do mental gymnastics as though to feel that they were correct. And the first example of this that I'm going to use today is, once again, I've been 100% validated that that was not a hoaxed picture of Burger King. It got the lovely Facebook fact check, and I love it. It says missing context. Oh, what context am I missing? That you're IDing people for burgers. And if anybody sees my Twitter post, and actually the Twitter post that I put up when I initially did the video about it, you can read that I do not specify where it is. I speculate that California or New York are likely suspects, but eventually we find out it's in Canada. Doesn't matter to me. We're talking about a first world English-speaking nation that I'm also doing stories on, obviously. One of those stories was a woman who was taken to another facility, which they could not tell her where she was going, okay, to quarantine. And yeah, this is all levels of tyranny acclimating you to what I am going to tell you once again is an automation nation, universal basic income, transhumanist agenda where everything is automated by AI. Robots take the place of humans in the vast majority of fields, literally in the next 10 to 20 years, and you are under a medical martial law tyranny. I wish that were not true. 100% I wish that were not true. And it's not going to be easy for these people to try to do this, but they have put it on paper. And here's the thing. Here's what's interesting. We've been really focusing on this a lot, okay? But their documentation is there. And if you look at the bio and nano age, they don't know how long it's going to last. They just say, hey, 2020 is the start of it. Okay. And then they want to bring in the virtual one, and they don't know when that's going to start because they don't know how successful this plan is going to be. Well, let me assure you, okay, a lot of us are not going to be down. And so many of you still have this psychology of, well, I don't really want to know about this, so I'm going to deny it's happening. Or, you know what, this is sensationalized, this isn't real, I'm going to deny it's happening. And then you produce evidence to the contrary, okay? And they still want to poke holes in it. They still want to act as though, you know, that information is fake or I fell for a hoax. Listen, when I get something wrong, and it happens, I talk about it openly. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. But I could tell from that picture, again, I've been doing Photoshop for a very, very long time, that, yeah, that came from somebody's cell phone. That's real. And I likened it to the same thing of Walmart not wanting to sell you seeds when this thing kicked off in the United States, right? And of course, there were people out there and still in all the comments talking about how you need an ID to vote, right? So is Burger King racist, et cetera, et cetera. And obviously that's a big talking point. It's not one really I was using, other than the fact that everybody else was bringing it up. And it just shows how far an inverted reality has come, right? That's the reality. So I want to talk about how hardcore this thing really is. For those that did not see my broadcast last night or the last couple, okay? Because you're sick of my NASA stuff, etc. You don't understand how important they are. The Future Is Now document is something I'm harping on because it illustrates where we are right now. We're there right now. And then Dennis Bushnell himself, who is the chief scientist at NASA, who gave this presentation 20 years ago, is very, very important because he is still in power, and he is one of the few people, in very rare circumstances, if you will, to publicly acknowledge all these things I'm talking about, and that's why I'm talking about them. One of them especially being the fact, again, I'm going to say it, by 2011, he said over 10,000 people had taken brain chips. 10,000 people had taken brain chips. They've been working with this technology, as I've said, for decade after decade after decade after decade. And Musk is nothing more than a front man rolling out their old inventoried technology. Let me repeat that. Their old inventoried technology. When we go over that document, you can see they say they have these things in inventory 30 to 40 years. That's significant. That's significant. That's something you have to take into account. Okay? And we're hearing that term DARPA more and more and more. And again, the man openly talks about population control almost in passing. And the crowd chuckles and giggles and thinks it's hilarious when he says that we may have to genetically modify ourselves or just create humanoids to be on the planet. And I know, the big story yesterday was China and the United States create human monkey embryos. Guys, that's old. It's so old. They said first time. No. No. Not even close. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell you people who are coming around, who are seeing that, wow, this guy's telling the truth. And it's not like he's just coming up with this stuff out of a comic book or some sci-fi series he saw a decade ago. No, I'm not. Rockfin. Rockfin's so important right now, guys. Facebook, okay, pulled down the Daily Mail story on the BLM activist that had bought in all those homes and lived in a rich neighborhood. Not because it wasn't factual, because that's what they do now. They just openly pull down information they would rather not get into the public arena so they can further shape their narrative. Why? Because Facebook is nothing more than a, Trojan horse set up under this whole infrastructure. A Trojan horse talked about in the future is now document. It's real. Right? Civilian system talked about. And Whitney Webb, I'm not sure she has part 2 out yet. I know it's over on unlimitedhangout.com. And I'm sure that she's talked about it further on her Rockfin channel. Make the free Rockfin account. Make the free Rockfin account. Make the free Rockfin account, right? So Whitney, she did a whole thing about LifeLog, DARPA, right? Facebook. Peter Thiel. Sean Parker is in there, and many others. Okay? And it's very, very, very important for you to go and check that out and understand. Again, Whitney Webb doesn't have a crystal ball, but she's very intelligent, very well read, connecting big dots, and understands how this system works. I discussed this whole thing with Niki House at length yesterday without showing you the footage of Dennis Bushnell saying the things that I'm talking about here. But later on, obviously, I went live, and you can see that video. I would encourage you to check out that conversation with Niki. It's a Rockfin exclusive. I think it's premium members only. I'm going to be putting it on my channel in a couple days, but I want Niki, obviously, to get first crack at that. And I may even end up putting it up for free, as I do the vast, vast majority of the stuff. Because, again, this is about free speech. This is about explaining to people what's really going on. This is about you deciding how you're going to navigate your life with the information given. And hopefully that navigation is going to be fighting back against the system. So I do want to remind people, we are going to do a maskless Mother's Day picnic right here in Bettendorf, Iowa. I believe it's Crow Creek Park in Bettendorf. And we're going to be there 12 to 5. Bring your friends, family, if you're in the area. It's going to be, people being people. No robots or cyborgs, just charcoal and grills, burgers and buns, happiness, children smiling, Good stuff. The stuff we need, right? And that's what it's all about. I'm fighting transhumanism. I'm fighting this agenda. I don't want to be a cyborg. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you. I'm good. I don't want medical martial law. I don't want to be told how to behave. Okay? You know, I mean, it's wild to me. I can't believe so many people are ready to be treated like children their entire lives. And not even like good children with well-adjusted parents, right? Probably like the Menendez brothers were treated. I'm going to leave it at that. Guys, I love you. Thumbs it up. Subscribe. The links down below are how you can financially support me. At Jason is Void. Or I'm sorry, at Jason Burmis is the Venmo. Jason is Void at yahoo.com is the PayPal. And of course, premium subscribers over at Rockfin always help. I love you, and I'll see you on the flip.